part 1 of a multi-part training series that will show you various ways to perform animation without using a single keyframe. While you may not realize it initially, there's a boatload of ways to animate in Create Studio without using a single keyframe. Let's define what is a keyframe. A keyframe is a keyframe. That was wow. Spell it backwards. Wow. Joking aside, a keyframe is indeed a keyframe when working with animation. If I were to say he's a key player on a football team, I'm saying in essence that he is an important or key player. In the same manner, a keyframe is an important frame in an animation. However, when it comes to animation, you must have 2 or more keyframes. Let us look at a simple example. To animate this UFO, I will first press the P key to invoke the position property of that object. Unidentified flying object, that is. Notice the 2 keyframes denoted by the diamond shape that was automatically added to the object's timeline. However, when you first create an animation, none of the object's properties are set. To create an animation, you must explicitly change a property, in this case, position, at either one or both keyframes. Let's change the position properties at the first keyframe. Place the playback head, or the current time indicator for geeks, either on or before the first keyframe. Hold down the Shift key to constrain the movement to a straight line. Then click and drag the UFO off the stage. Move the second keyframe to about halfway in the object's layer to slow down the animation. Press the 1 key to move the playback head to the beginning of the timeline, and then press the 0 key to play the animation. Notice the UFO started from the first keyframe position and then finished moving at the last of the second keyframe position. And then it paused because there was no keyframes. That was a lot of work, relatively speaking, to create a simple animation. Let us look at another approach to doing the same animation without using a single keyframe. First, let's delete the current keyframe from this object. Notice the thin line between the 2 keyframes representing the object's position or movement between the keyframes. For geeks, the technical term for this is called tweening, from the word between. Right-click on this thin line and select Delete Animation. Notice the UFO is now off the stage because its first keyframe was set to that position in the previous example. Hold down the Shift key to constrain the movement to a straight line, then click and drag the UFO back to the center of the stage. With the object still selected in the timeline, select Motion with the N option and position active, and then select the right motion preset checkbox. You should see a preview of the motion path in the preview window to show you how the object will animate. Drag the right motion preset handle to about 1/3 of the object's length to reduce the N animation speed. Press the 1 key again to move the playback head to the beginning of the timeline, and then press the 0 key to play the animation. How cool is that? Notice the UFO animates the same way as when keyframe was added earlier. So what is the advantages of using motion presets? Well, you don't have to worry about keyframes, positioning object off the stage. It will automatically, one of my favorite words, animates to its initial stage position, and where to change other settings, as we'll soon see. Let's look at how to set other properties without a single keyframe. Click on Motion again, if necessary, but select the Out option in the left motion preset checkbox this time. Drag the left motion preset handles to about 1/3 of the object's length to reduce the out animation speed. Press the 1 key again to move the playback head to the beginning of the timeline, and then press the 0 key to play the animation. Notice this time the UFO animates from the left edge to the center, pauses for a while, and then animates off the left edge of the screen. Now let's change the pause in the middle of the animation to a loop instead, and let's see what happens. You must have the playback head somewhere in the middle of the object's layer, or you will not be able to select a looping option. Click on Motion again, but select the Loop option and the Swing X checkbox this time. In the Preset panel, change the number of loops to 8. Drag the Swing X motion preset handles to add space before and after the right and left motion presets to create pauses between the various types of animation. Press the 1 key again to move the playback head to the beginning of the timeline, and then press the 0 key to play the animation. Notice this time the UFO animates from the left edge to the center, pauses for a while, swing back and forward 8 times based upon the number of loops entered, pause for a while again, and then animates off the left edge of the stage. Again, all 3 animation types, in, out, and loop, were done without using a single keyframe. This technique is handy if you're new to animating. So it's helpful to familiarize yourself with the other motion presets to save time creating animations. What's the moral of the story? Motion preset can save you a ton of time over using keyframes for simple animation. In the next video, I'll show you how to animate 5 objects. Yes, I said 5 objects, all at once without using a single keyframe. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.